Welcome to Mountain Medicine Farm, Sylva, North Carolina area. Today's June 1st, 2021. A little wild hydrangea going right here. It's a potato. We have a couple varieties of kale and a little bit of lettuce popping up. Soil is from Frog Hollow Organics, utilizing old canoes for free planter beds. And here we have strawberries in another canoe. Having a good strawberry season indeed. There's plenty. I'll have to come back and eat some here shortly for breakfast. Lots of delicious fresh strawberries here. Little onion, random cayenne pepper popped in there. Took out a tree here and had a wild grape that I didn't notice in it. It has a lot of fruit coming up, so I'm going to see if it'll live happily here on the ground and give me a little test of the local native grape. There's a couple lavender right there. There's a volunteer squash from our compost growing under this Asian pear. There's another Asian pear in this jungle. Some peppermint. Plantain is good medicine, although it's technically invasive. We've got little daylilies that are just sort of arrived on our hill, which we're glad to see. A good native edible. We're hoping it will spread and help contain that bank soil. We built this bed out of ferro cement and retaining wall block. We've got some rosemary bushes that are bursting back to life after a transplant. This is a lot of temperate tulsi. This is feverfew, another good medicinal. If you're not familiar with adaptogenic herb concept, tulsi is an adaptogen. A little chamomile, some basil, some garden sage, Thai basil, creeping thyme, Eritrean basil, pineapple sage. That thing's doing very well and it's delicious. More tulsi and calendula doing great. I got those seeds locally. Here's astragalus, known in Chinese medicine as Wang Ti, slow-growing perennial wheat crop, doing well. I was excited to see at last my locally sourced, harvested wild passion flower seeds have at last decided to pop up. Looking forward to getting those on an arbor as they get a little bigger. St. John's wort, mother of thyme, ashwagandha, another adaptogen, along with the astragalus as well. Mother wort, you can see there's a lot of this creeping thyme that I've stuck here to be future fillers. Lemon balm, hyssop, I think is that one. Better put that in. Stevia, another little calendula. My old oregano plant is thriving in this bed. More stevia. Bee balm. These poke. There's some new research on poke's seeds having some potentially valuable medicinal properties. It is considered a toxic plant. People eat the fresh spring greens. And a little wild yam that I seeded out. I'm gonna let those do their first year in a pot. Turns out there's a lot of wild yam on this hill once we got the overgrown weeds cleared. A lot of old, apparently dormant yam roots decided to wake up and join us. I'm super happy about that. This is aronia berry. Thank you to my friend Dr. Wong for recommending this plant. Super high antioxidant content in these little berries. Got two of them going. Supposedly they're pretty hardy and they like to spread horizontally by root, tuber. So we're hoping that that also establishes some good soil strengthening here. Got a little thyme that was in a plant, in a pot that Sarah put here. She planted this echinacea here on the hill, a little supplemental soil, hoping that does good. I thought one thing that's cool is we also found a little dormant wild blueberries hiding out on the ridge here. I definitely want to get those more well established. This is a big sumac. I'm trying to let a lot of the sumacs go. Been working hard to clear the jungle on this steep slope. Sumac berries have a lot of value. Got some red clover and crimson clover going for nitrogen fixing and soil stabilization. Also the red clover is a good medicinal for the ladies especially. Another type of mint here, it's called a chocolate mint. Really high peppermint oil content. And a little thinning on this big cherry tree. That's a mess. More sumac here. I've yet to identify this plant. It looks like fireweed, but it's not. Its tops are actually much more like goldenrod, except they're sort of a silver gray color. Not sure what's going on with that. Probably don't want those to continue to create this monoculture. I might have to keep thinning those down. Get these beautiful daisies that are appearing. We want to encourage those for sure. You know, this power line corridor, partial shade environment. Got the clover going right there for now. There's a lot of unutilized space as of yet. This year is just our introductory year. We're just experimenting with some different plants to see what does well here with little maintenance and pest resistant. There's a little more calendula going on there and some beets. This is a honeyberry. Got 4 of these honeyberry bushes. They were delicious, early tart little berry. Pretty much already done for the year, but we're hoping that these do well and are happy. And the soil is supplemented underneath there. Trying to let the sumac do its thing where it's not impacting negatively light for the other plants. There's one of my spaghetti squash. I built this arbor here out of stock panels. We were hoping to get a little hops going here. That's one plant that didn't like our blended soil apparently, but this wild yam appeared and so we're letting it do its thing. I'm hoping to add the passion flowers here. Did a row of peas in here, a little bunny, hit them pretty hard. They're starting to come back though, but I tend to put the passion flower here. Little, this is a hardy kiwi, just starting to climb. That's gonna, in theory, take over the arbor eventually. Here's my cucumbers. They're doing quite well. They have a lot of little cucumbers already forming, flowering out nicely. And that amended soil. Come around. The clover's waking up finally a little more after the rain. This is comfrey, big fat comfrey. We had a giant multiflora rose root there. I dug a big pit to get it out and thought, hey, there's somewhere we can plant. Mullen's kind of commonly thought of as a weed, but for those of you who know herbal medicine, there's a lot of value in respiratory health around mullein. So we should get some flower heads out of that next year. I'd like to get that established on the hill. Oh, pear tree coming on down. You see, I left some areas wild, creates habitat for insects and small critters. So these ferns popped up happily. I'm allowing the sassafras to do its thing as well. Always fighting these berries. There's a lot of mature vines down here that I'm gonna have to keep killing these off aggressively for a few years. Got a little trail / irrigation diversion here. It's for the runoff, trying to divert it out off the slope. Further out you can see a lot of sassafras down in the shade over there that I'm letting do their thing as well. There's some value in sassafras for a number of things. A lot of weeding this year going on. Here's my tomatillos. They're killing it. They're doing great. I love the salsa verde, so I'm excited to smash on some of those. This area here, even though it's great sun, had a really high volume of ferns already that I knew about, so I made an effort to really let them do their thing, and again share the space with some natives and some wild habitat. Allowed that sumac to go up again too, and it's interesting with sumac. You see how they're bent over. I've discovered that they're very easy to gently bend with your hand just a little bit along the way, and you can kind of get them to go sideways. And they seem to be doing fine still, even though they're funny looking. But they're hogging up the sun for my lovely tomatillos, so can't have that. One thing that's cool too, another native that we found popping up all over that definitely want to allow to continue to exist here and encourage is this beautiful Solomon seal. You can see it's bearing fruit. Yeah, here comes puppy. Hey, Tim. Up here we have, this is a rhubarb. You know, it's just getting going this year. We'll let it do its thing. This is called nasturtium. It's an edible flower. Has like a spicy radish flavor. Really pretty plant. Dill, hiding in the jungle there. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank here. Borage, yes. Sarah's introduced to a couple of borage plants. They're doing really well. This is my crown champion spaghetti squash. You know, for June 1st, it's already 5 feet long and has 5 vines. This little flower here is already starting to curl up. I got my first fruiting body there. Here's a peach tree. Doing good. It's a battle in the jungle. Some more of that wild hydrangea there. Oh, and I guess I didn't show you one of my favorite yams here. I've used some dead sticks to try to give the yams something to climb on, but I just really think it's a beautiful plant and letting it do its thing. Another big one. So here's my crookneck squash. Those are killing it too, really coming out. Another area that's so far currently pretty wild. I guess I didn't mention this flowering plant that you see all over. That's another cover crop I put in, a radish. I bought it as daikon seed, but a lot of it actually put out round bulbs, which I thought was weird. But the honeybees are very happy about all these blooms, and I'm gonna just let the cover crop seed itself. I'll take you back down this road to show you the berries over here after we circle around. So this is kind of just for a little note too, the sticks here, after doing the work, terracing all this out, I built a kind of a big hugelkultur wall of debris here, and you see how it's very smooth and flat there? That's actually all sediment from runoff that, using the waste vegetative matter, created a catch for this, and it's actually made this nice big flat spot here. So it's holding the soil together pretty well, which is cool. Okay, here we have the canadensis variety of elderberry. That's doing pretty well here in the hole, sheltered from the hot afternoon sun. This is a hardy fig. I was a little concerned in the spring it was not doing too well, didn't want to come out, but it's finally putting out some nice leaves. I'm hoping that gets well established, and we'll have to protect that some in the winter. There's another pear tree. So again, you can see the the sassafras garden over here, and a couple dogwoods I left as well, and ferns. All right, we're gonna get in the blueberry row, but this is a black elderberry doing well, and peach tree. You can see it has some peaches on it. I'm actually gonna take out a few more of these trees. Starting to really provide too much shade, I think. So, and down on this big messy bank, got a lot of sunflowers that are coming up. But blueberries, even though I tried to pluck all the flowers off for the first year in the ground, they were very aggressive about continuing to produce flowers. So I've got 9 blueberry plants along here, and I'm hoping to try out the 6 different varieties, see which ones do the best. This one's already starting to show some purple berries. June 1st, a little earlier than I anticipated, but again, different varieties. They just come in, and if they're still firmly attached, then they're not ready. But looking forward to munching on those. A lot more here. Now this is my little pepper garden. Got a couple red bells, these poblanos. Honestly, I've never had peppers get this big so fast, so well, but impressively tall poblanos already. Everything's already flowering. And I've got 5 different custom kind of exotic hot peppers here that I am excited to try. Another blueberry turning blue there. Again, lots of cover crop, yam. This hill is kind of a jungle. You can see I'm working on another hugelkultur row there. And I did introduce fire into this corner to contain the reemergence of the forest there, to open up for sun. And my intent is to terrace that out by hand and introduce fruit and nut trees in the future, along with some ground crops in between. So again, there's a lot of the radish and another arbor Honeybees are singing happily along as they munch on it. Here's an underview of that crazy hugelcoulter wall. Having to battle a lot of unwanted plants like the berries and stuff. I've got a lot of this grape, this wild grape. I'm curious to see just how much use there is in the fruit. I do want to maintain some of the natives here in amongst the space. This bank's holding up pretty well so far. Another view of the cricknecks here, doing well. This is my corn patch. I planted them kind of tight, but they're already a foot tall, happily drinking up the sun. These radishes keep wanting to block light, but keep stepping them back. No honeybee. I love that. That's a happy sound of the pollinators buzzing away. Put a grape in here. The grape's not doing really awesome. We'll see how they do. I was hoping to get this arbor to be a grape arbor. This is a butternut squash, killing it. Doing real well. I'm gonna let that climb. It's like you can see the radishes are wanting to crowd that out again for light. Now this is Cotinopsis, Chinese medicinal herb known as Dongshen. That's a perennial, slow-growing root vegetable similar to astragalus in that effect. It's a Chinese bellflower. Hoping to get that up and climbing here. Wee little watermelon, small watermelon. I'm hoping to get that on the arbor. Another yam jumping out. I bought this grape from a local guy at the farmer's market off his Concord. It's sort of slow growing. This wild grape up here is just going 5 times faster. Up here you can see, can't get a real good close up from here, but that's zucchini row. So I got 6 zucchini plants in there. They're banging, doing real good. Lemongrass, giving that a whirl. I really like lemongrass. So I've got Thai basil, I've got a Thai hot pepper, I got some lemongrass. Looking forward to getting some South Asian recipes. This is a hazelnut filbert, 2 of those here. Hoping they get going well. Another area that is currently just a habitat section. Here's a witch hazel. Hoping that's gonna be happy and do well, and another spaghetti squash up there in the corner. And then we thought it'd be fun to make kind of a arbor out of this yam. So it's making its way down. So I have this nice archway, yam archway. I believe this is called a ragwort, not ragweed, native. It's happy popping up. I did a bed here to try to get some valerian going and some feverfew, but my compost has a lot of volunteer squash seeds in it, and they really did well here. And I'm not sure that I have any feverfew or valerian coming up, although this might be the feverfew. There's also a lot of ragweed that is happily reproducing that I'm continuing to fight. This is a ragweed right here. No sir, I do not want your pollen or your seed. So I'm hoping, I think I saw at least one little guy in here that looked, there we go. I believe that might be the valerian. I think of one successfully germinated seed. I did a little amendment in here. Dogs got in and found a critter and decided to bury a lot of my work. Anyhow, we've got these little trails that connect how the 3 terraces all go back into the forest there. This is kind of a future shade bed, partial shade bed. Anyway, following the trail. So here's another nice thicket of beautiful Solomon seal, bearing much fruit. Looking forward to distributing those seeds elsewhere, probably back in this direction. So we get up here to the last section, burdock. Some see it as a weed, but it's actually a commonly consumed root crop. Also a powerful detoxifier. Actually forget the Chinese medicinal name for it, but hoping to have the burdock for some use as food and medicine. More Solomon seal. This is lobelia, beautiful blue flowers, also a medicinal. It's kind of randomly stuck in here. There's that calendula bed. Then we have some turnips. These ones just bolted and went to seed really fast, kind of letting them do their thing. The pollinators have been enjoying those. This other type is, the soil wasn't very strong. Some things I just wanted to see how they did with not awesome soil. Experimental. That little turnip coming up there. Interestingly, there was a band of some kind of nutrition over here because in here I got these big fat turnips. Just seemed to like something right here that was nutritious for these plants. So then I've got some celery going. There's a squash again back there. There's a Italian parsley. My onion patch. You can see I'm using these mill ends from the local mill that I get for free right down the street. So just repurposing forest byproducts. And then this is another butternut squash, and you can see these raspberries are forming nicely. The emitted soil around there has caused that clover to get very happy, putting out shoots for later this summer. Got these from Useful Plants Nursery. Nice big fat raspberry right there. There we go. Yeah, not quite ready yet, but looking forward to smashing on those. Oh, this raspberry was kind of dormant, but it's waking up finally. This one is bolting up nicely for the late summer harvest and got its old stalk. Here's another squash, butternut. Bees are singing. This hole here was where the butternut, and this hole was a couple of failed raspberries that I actually picked up from Lowe's. Continuously disappointed by those commercial scale products. I need to remember to just buy from local producers. They get a lot better quality. And these big fat beautiful blackberries here that they don't want to focus. Anyway, maybe it'll focus. Kind of dark, but they're not ripe yet, but there's some big fatties. I got these thornless blackberries from Useful Plants Nursery as well. They're doing well. This one's setting up a really big, fresh round 2. And one more type of raspberry. So anyways, we've circled back. That's the tour. I hope you enjoyed seeing how we're doing here on June 1st in our first year.